Hey there, me again. And as you can probably tell, no skeleton t-shirt, no Zekmik book. This isn't a WEGAF episode, right? As you can tell, right? Yeah. So yeah, what this is it's another vlog, and it's partially simply to, I said in the last video that, oh, it'll be up in a week or two, and it's obviously been longer than that, for which I apologize. But, thing is, yeah, excuse me, thing is, I froze like a deer in the headlights. No, I may have given the impression in the last few seconds that, oh, some terrible catastrophe. No. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. The computer is working out fine. There have been... What's caused the delay is there have been a few minor technical hiccups. Remember I said, oh, there's a thing with the battery. I had to get over that. I had to get a new battery. It turns out, actually, that the problem was nowhere near as severe as I thought it was. But that's beyond the point. I won't... This isn't going to be another sort of video where I ramble on about technical issues. No. The point is, all is going fine. It's just there has been a delay or two, and it's taking a little longer than I thought it would. It's still... it's still going along. I am in production as we speak. All that good stuff. But, yeah, it's taking a little longer than I thought. So, in order to, use something to look at, like you didn't already have a million other things to look at, but something from me, I've decided to do this little vlog on it's another one about movies, but specifically about comic book related movies this time, and on an issue which is, I'm going to say near and dear to me. It's not exactly near and dear, but it involves two characters that I like. Two characters which are among my personal favorites. Let's just dive right into it. Marvel has confirmed that among its new crop of movies to be made is, excuse me a second, is going to be a Captain Marvel movie. The character they call Captain Marvel, the Carol Danvers. That name has been a relatively recent development, and I'll get into the implications of that later. But anyway, they have confirmed there is going to be a movie made of her that's going to be coming out in 2018. Now, of course, it's all very well to say these sorts of delays and these sorts of things are, they happen all the time. Again, I must apologize for scratching my nose so much on camera. It's a bad habit. I just can't help it. Anyway, he says. Anyway. So, yeah. Delays but they say it's coming out in 2018, and so far we have no reason to doubt their word. Now, I had originally written a script about this business I'm about to talk to you about, and I originally was going to make a whole mini movie, a professional quality sort of sort of editorial, and I was going to do it as the WEGAF, but then I realized the whole reason I'm doing this in the first place is to do it as a filler thing. So, but I do, so yeah, that's why I'm shooting this vlog style. But I took notes from what I had written. Oh, and another thing is that between the time in which I started to write that and the time which I did a little more research on the internet about these, it turns out that some of my facts were off. So rather than rewrite the whole thing, I'm just, yeah. So yeah, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. Now, as I understand it, the announcement of there being a Captain Marvel movie has so far been met with fairly unanimous, hey, cool, sort of, from most people. And as I understand it, this is for several reasons. First is that the character is a woman, and we have so far had a rather shocking dearth of really, butt-whooping female superheroic leads up on screen. I mean, there have been some, but they're usually either part of the team, as in the the X-Men movies or the Black Widow and the Avengers. They're very rarely solo, and when they are, great track record. Other people have done videos. I think the Nostalgia Chick, if you want to look up her thing, she did a video kind of counting down the top 10 female superheroes or comic book female, whatever. But it's, yeah, she says it much better than I could, but basically it's not been a very impressive list of movies. So, but Captain Marvel is one of the top Marvel superheroes at the moment, so there's a pretty good chance that they will be bringing their A game to this, like they have with most of their movies so far, and we'll get a really good superhero movie with a superheroic lead female, and that would be awesome because we know that there are plans for, we're going to be seeing Wonder Woman on the big screen soon, and not in her own movie first time, which I've already expressed my thoughts on that, but she is going to be showing up, and if Captain Marvel performs well, there's a good chance that she'll perform well, and there are lots of awesome comic book women that could use this as a launching pad, and needless to say, that would be good. That would be, I mean, pick your favorite. She-Hulk, the Huntress, maybe. I mean, she has a Batman connection, and Batman is usually big, so. Blonde Phantom for me. Any of them. I mean, pick one, choose one. The Batgirl, I'm not going to spend time thinking of. You can probably come up with a number of them that would deserve. There's lots, and so this could be big. So that's why people are saying this is a good thing. and I hope they are right, but I have some concerns on this issue. Let's put it that way. First off, Carol Danvers is I'm not sure why they're doing her as their. I applaud the let's have a woman protagonist and blah, 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 and but I'm not sure why her. There are a lot of other female superheroes in their stable of characters that they could do much less complicatedly. Here's the thing. For those of you who don't know Carol Danvers, or who don't know the character, she was originally a supporting character for another character called Captain Marvel. And like I say, it's only recently that she herself has been called Captain Marvel. For a good long time she was called Ms. Marvel, and other names, which I'll get into. And she has had, to say the least, a complex history. She's had, best known, she's been involved with the X-Men, in that she had an early encounter with the character of Rogue before Rogue became a member of the X-Men. Rogue, as you know, can absorb powers and personality and so forth, and she absorbed Carol Danvers' powers, and which are, sort of the standard sort of super strength, flight, invulnerability, that sort of thing, and also her memories, to the point where Carol was like a blank slate, and Professor X, the leader of the X-Men, managed to restore her memories, but not her emotional connection to them, which meant that she had all this information, but it was just information. She didn't have like emotional, whatever connection to it. This messed her up. She went into space for a while with the Starjammers. It was another, and she was out there for a long time, and then she went back to Earth and joined the Avengers. Again, I think she was a member earlier before that, but anyway. And she has had a complicated history. She had problems with alcoholism, which, due to this other stuff. Pardon me a moment. Just paranoid there for a second. I've had problems with my audio equipment in the past, and for more like, is it plugged in? Yes, it's plugged in. But anyway, she has had a lot of stuff going on, and I'm not sure how you would replicate that in one movie. Now, of course, Marvel has had considerable success with introducing characters in an earlier movie that then blossom into full-fledged protagonists or whatever in a later one. I mean, look at Avengers and then the Black Widow. That's a pretty big leap from Iron Man 2 to that. And it is possible that the same thing could be done with Carol Danvers. I hope there is. I mean, there's 2018, which, as I film this, is several years off. So maybe she could be a supporting character in a movie or 2 or 3 or 4. I don't know. And all this sort of backstory can be done. I mean, look what happened with Agent Coulson. Again, from the Iron Man movies, who's now, he's in the Avengers. He's got his own TV show, from what I hear. I haven't seen it, because I don't... But anyway, I hear it, It could happen, but there's still a few... hang on. Notes. Notes, that's why I mentioned this, because I might be looking... Yes. there's the thing is, the character fits into, she's very much a part of the wider Marvel universe. And now I know that there has been talk about Marvel making nice with like Sony and Fox over the X-Men, Spider-Man, which previously they have had sole filmic ownership of. And like, okay, so it's not impossible that she could have something to do with an X-Men project, but there's that, it's not impossible that she could, but how would you do it? I mean, Rogue did the whole mind thing after Ms. Marvel then had been established for a long time. How do you do that in one movie unless you introduce her as a character, a full-fledged superhero in an earlier film, which would be cool, but then it would take the thunder away from whoever the other film is. And you see what I mean? That is complicated. And even if you manage to do that, there's the issue that maybe he's a little too similar to certain other characters in Marvel's filmic stable. Specifically, two of the big guns, the big one, Captain America and Iron Man. In that, one thing I hadn't mentioned is that Carol Danvers has like a military past. She was a fighter pilot, and later a director at, I think, NASA or something. Anyway, she was with the military, so she has this military past. She's friends with Wolverine from like his secret agent days, and obviously that is something that she shares in common with Captain America, and maybe that's a little close to home. I mean, for taking the thunder away from him, and also, of course, this is more to do with like future plot points that they might want to bring up. The alcoholism. That's a big thing with, her overcoming all this to become the sort of the confident, heroic character she is today. The alcoholism was a big part of that, as I understand it. I'm not like an avid student of some of the characters later, more current things, but that's certainly been a big part of my experience with her and as you probably know, Tony Stark is one of the best-known alcoholics in comics. He had a whole big storyline over it a few years back, Demon in the Bottle. I think that was called, as like mid-90s. And Iron Man is the big gun in Marvel films. So, you think they'd probably be trying to preserve that whole sort of storyline for him as opposed to her. But if you take that away from her, then what would you do? What would you do? How would you do this is my concern. Not that she shouldn't be adopted, but how do you get her right? How do you get all this sort of trauma that she's experienced into one film, or one film and a couple of other... How do you do that? I don't know. Then we get to another issue, which does cut a little closer to home to me, even if that all works. As I said, this is happening in 2018. Now, over at DC, there is another character who is much better known as Captain Marvel, and he, it has announced, is also getting a film in 2018. Now, there's a little history lesson I must give you here, in that Captain Marvel predates DC, and they only started using him back in the 70s. But when they announced that they were going to use him, Marvel said, hang on, you can't use as Captain Marvel. We've got a character called Captain Marvel they just put out. This is the same character that Carol Danvers was a spin-off of. And this seems to me a pretty clear indication, from what I can tell, that this was kind of a pretty naked power play. They wanted to grab the name away from DC. They wanted, like, Captain Marvel's a well-known name. We are going to use that well-known name. And they have very consistently. They've had a whole bunch of... They've done a lot to associate the name Marvel as in a character called Marvel with Marvel Comics. Of course, the Captain Marvel, Ms. Marvel, Marvel Boy, Marvel Girl, Marvel Man at one point. I think that's it. But there have been, like, lots of different characters with this. So kind of like with this appellation. Something like maybe 20? A lot. You look over their roster of characters, they're always doing somebody. There's always another Marvel Boy or another Marvel Girl or a new Captain Marvel. Carol Danvers is only the latest. Like I said, she was called Ms. Marvel for a number. And this seems to me that this whole two films at the same time thing is another sort of a power grab move for kind of, all right, this is our Captain Marvel. You know, we've got Captain Marvel once and for all. She's ours. The name is ours, or he's ours. We can do whatever we like with the name. We're the Captain Marvel. You know, it's gonna, we win. You think the DC, and especially because, as I mentioned before, DC has recently changed the name. They've been marketing the character of Captain Marvel under the title Shazam, which is his magic word, for decades now. That's how they got around the whole "you can't do Captain Marvel" thing. They don't market him as Captain Marvel, but they market it as Shazam and the whatever. But recently, they've just changed the character's name to Shazam. So the movie is going to be called Shazam. And that would more or less take away the Captain Marvel moniker, period, from him. Because, you know, movies are big when it comes to establishing these characters in the public eye. If the first filmic Captain Marvel is the Marvel Captain Marvel, that'll be it. She's set in stone, chiseled in. That will be Captain Marvel for the general non-comics reading public. And the old Captain Marvel, who has been around since the late 30s, who has only was created like slightly after Superman, who was at one point more popular and well recognized. Well, maybe not more well recognized, but more popular, who has this huge, long history, who is one of the iconic superheroes of all time, really. Goodbye. You know, he'll still be in the comics, of course. We won't have that. We will still have that, but he'll be Shazam. Now let me tell you why this is stupid. Shazam is the word he says to get turned into Captain Marvel. I'm not going to call him Shazam. If he is Shazam, then that means he can't say, "Who are you?" "Oh, I'm nobody." There's already a Captain Marvel Jr. who can't say his magic word or words are Captain Marvel. He can't say his name. The character has gotten around that. But you know, he's typically a member of a group. You know, the Marvel family. He hasn't done a lot of operating on his own since the Golden Age, so it's not been that much of a problem. But Captain Marvel himself he's the headliner. Of course, he's going to work on his own, at least at first. And what sense does it make, especially when it's like the wizard Shazam gave him his powers? It's the iconic, like, "Speak my name, Billy Batson, Shazam!" Boom! And then it's, "Who are you?" "You're Shazam." "Oh, I'm Shazam." Boom! You see what I mean? It's like, It's a Shazam loop. They've stuck the character in a Shazam loop. It's stupid. It's just stupid. Not to mention that Captain Marvel is a much better name than Shazam for a character. Hey! It's like... Shazam is a magic word, and it's a great name for a magic word, but it's not a great name for a character. Is it the wizard Shazam? Fine, okay. But there's... He doesn't have a problem speaking his name! Hey! I'm a little upset about this. So... That's the thing. They're both happening at the same time. DC... I mean, if they were both Captain Marvel at the same time, then that would be also a power play on both people's part, but at least it would be fair. It's like best one wins. You know, and there's still, there's that other Captain Marvel. But now, no, it's Captain Marvel versus Shazam, and I don't like this situation. It doesn't strike me as fair to either character, really. Carol Danvers is a terrific character. She is the very definition of a strong female protagonist. Of a good female protagonist, really. I mean, yes, strong is a great thing, especially for a superhero, but a good character is a good character. You know, it doesn't have to be strong, just good, well done. Carol Danvers is all of those, and she deserves her place in her hour in the sun. But so does Billy Batson, you know. He's been around for a long time. He's earned his dues. We've been waiting for this for years. Decades. Like your grandfather has been waiting for this. All his life. Practically. Since he was 10, probably. If you've got a grandfather who used to read Captain Marvel, he's been waiting for this. So how do we... Well, my solution, which would probably... is probably not going to happen, because... Yeah, oh, the studio executives are watching me. But my solution would be to change the name. I mean, first off, never mind this freaking Shazam BS. Call him Captain Marvel. And rename not Marvel. She has had other names. Like I said, she used to be called Ms. Marvel for a long time. And if they've got to do the Marvel name trademark is the thing of Marvel, this beyond is ridiculous. I mean, you don't see like a Captain DC, but anyway, they've got to do that. Call her Ms. Marvel, if you must. It's not a great name, but it's got associated with the character. She's got a history with it. But here would be what I would call her, and this is because this is the first name which I encountered her as. Warbird. There's a name. Warbird. I mean, it worked with her history as a fighter pilot. There's a type of plane called a Warbird, I think, back from World War I. Anyway, a long time ago. And it kind of, she's a flyer. She's an ex-military. She kicks. You know, it's a name that packs a punch, as far as I'm concerned. If you had a Warbird a Warbird movie versus a Captain Marvel movie, I would be fine with that. That would be awesome. It's like two great characters getting their dues. Pass the popcorn. I'm gonna see the movie. Excuse me. Both movies. I'm gonna see them. And I will, of course, when they come out, assuming they both do come out. But still, that would be one solution. That would be my solution. I think it's some sort of a solution needs to be come up with. I hope it does. I dearly hope it does. Because I don't want to see either character diminished. I don't want to see this become part of like a bidding war for the name. It's like you know, muscling in is like, we own Captain Marvel. No, we don't know. We don't know. Like, I mean, DC has kind of been at the losing end of that for a long time, but still, it's you see what I mean. These characters do not deserve to be part of a war. They're good characters. Both of them have earned their dues like crazy. They have. So here is hoping that something is done about it. That's an awfully weak ending, I know, but well, what can I do? What can I say further? I hope, if any of you who are watching this who are fans, who might possibly be in a position to do something about it, I don't know. Maybe. It's not impossible. It's the internet. Could you maybe do something about it? You know, like, I don't know. Powerful petition writers out there? Anyone? You do? I don't know. But I hope this has at least alerted you. If nothing, if maybe you don't care about any of this. And it's like, you know, oh, Carol Danvers is getting a movie. I did not know about this. And, you know, the original Captain Marvel. Woo! I'm seeing both of them. Even if that's just for late, just informed you both about both of those. You know, my job here is done. Yeah. So I hope this has been informative to you, and maybe told you a little bit more about both characters that you didn't know and why they're in the situation that they are in the movie thing. Yeah. And there are precedents for, I mean, there was not too long ago, there's two Truman Capote biopic movies happening like within a couple months of each other. And it was a complete coincidence, of course, and both were relatively successful. So, you know, it could happen, but, right, here's hoping. And I have talked long enough, I'm not sure how long, but probably too long. I believe my notes are all used up. Yeah. So, I'm signing off now. That's the end of this bit of commentary, bit of editorial, vlog, whatever. And as for WEGAF, I assure you, you will be seeing him soon. It's taking a little bit longer than I thought, but it is happening, and it is going to soon. I meant it in the last video. I mean it now. Soon. Within the month, certainly. Probably within the next couple of weeks. Possibly. I'm not going to be, but soon. Watch out. Keep your eyes peeled. He's coming.